Welcome to Leadership Energetics. So today we're going to talk about how leadership is God's work, quite literally. Okay, so the more that I've grown in my connection with God, source, light, love, awareness, consciousness, the more I became more consciousness through consistently meditating every single day for 5 years almost. And also the more that I've connected to my own heart, my own soul, the more that I've begun to know who I am, my authentic expression, my truth, my essence, the more that I have improved in my leadership. And the more that I've improved in my leadership skills, the more that I've understood and improved in my connection to God, the more that it made more sense. And even think about this in the way that Jesus, himself, is actually, and I'm not religious of any form, but I do believe in a higher power, in God. Always have. It's a feeling that I just deeply am connected and know in my bones. But think of Jesus as being the Son of God, as we all are. Think of him being a leader. He is a leader, and that's how he expresses the word of God. And the leaders that I personally think are the best are the ones that have faith. I mean, how can you lead without faith? How? It's impossible. You cannot, because the leadership is about going from point A to point B. It's quite literally having faith that you can transform somebody from point A to point B, whatever the goal is that you're creating through that sense of leadership. So this is why you find a lot of leaders that have deep, unwavering faith in a higher power or in some form of like spirituality, because it requires unwavering faith to create manifestations of what does not exist into existence, to bring something from nothing into something, and to be able to completely transform, because leadership is people work, right? That's literally all it is. Leadership is people work. It is nothing else other than people work. So leadership is quite literally being able to transform, impact, influence, and heal, and just shift people's mindsets in order to be able to allow them to be the version of them so that they can create the thing, the goal, the vision that needs to be created in whatever team, even, or maybe it's one-to-one leadership, like you're just leading one person. Maybe it's not a team. Leadership is something that is revolutionary because it's something that brings faith and hope, and it gives people solutions and answers. Leadership is about connection, it's about unity, it's about love, it's about trust, it's about trusting one another and building teams, it's about creation, it's about consciousness, it's about awareness. And so it's all connected to essences of God, energies of a higher power. It's about love, bringing more light. And when you bring more light to anything, you are bringing your awareness, you are bringing your consciousness, you are giving it truth. And this is why I've always loved, and like I said, the more that I've grown in my leadership skills and my leadership understandings, the more that I've grown in my connection to God and faith and spirituality. Honestly, the more that I've grown in that way, the more that I've been able to also manifest many impossible things in my life. And also have seen some incredible things that is not for today's episode, but I will definitely talk about some of my crazy spiritual experiences on another episode. But essentially, the more that I continue to show up and the more that I continue to build the beautiful muscle of integrity and the beautiful muscle of honesty and truth, which is all values that come with the role of leadership, because who you are is not a leader. Who you are is yourself. It's your being, it's your essence, it's your energy. And the role you play is a leader, and you're either born a natural leader where that is something you're inclined, you have a desire to do, and it feels natural to you, or you're not. And some people don't have that desire that it feels natural for them. But some people, even though they don't have a desire, still end up becoming leaders because they teach themselves, or because they're in a circumstance where that needs to be the case. And then they learn the skills. But when you are a natural born leader, and that's your purpose, and that is your purpose, right? Because you're watching this video, and that's the people I attract. Women entrepreneurs who are here to become massive leaders in their own industry. You're a coach, perhaps, or maybe you're a photographer, or maybe you're a woman who is just has her own business and you're wanting to grow your community and attract your dream clients, and you know that you need to build better relationships, so you're here to build your leadership skills. And that all ties back into the realization that your leadership skills begins with your ability to lead your own energy. That's why this episode series is called Leadership Energetics. And God, I don't want to say God is an energy because that's not accurate, but God is a understanding of the energetics world. The more that you awaken to the spiritual world, the more that you awaken to the realization that you don't know what you don't know. And there is so much that we do not know as humans. But what we do know for a fact is that the spiritual world is the world that we experience and feel when we close our eyes. The world that isn't thought but felt. The feeling world, the feminine aspect, the archetype of the feminine energy world, and the archetype of the masculine world is the mind, the ego that tries to keep us safe. The literal only job of the mind is to keep you safe. It's for survival. It's your ego. It's the only job. So it's problem solving all the time. So it's seeking problems all the time. So that's why in order for you to come into your leadership, it's not about thinking more and finding more solutions. That's not how you improve your leadership. It's by feeling more and connecting people from a heart level and understanding that we're constantly dancing with one another through our energy. And every choice you make is an investment of either upliftment or draining of your energy. And it is magical because there is no limit to how much energy you can have, and you can have abundance of energy flowing through your vessel, through your body, just like this stream of like ecstasy and bliss and euphoria. And it's just all because of the choices you make. So leadership really boils down to your decision-making abilities. How good are you at making decisions that serve you in the future? Oh my God, the more that I've grown into my leadership roles, the more that I've gone into studying leadership and devoting my life to becoming a leadership coach, the more that I've understood that it truly is all about the relationship you have with yourself. That is the main thing that will dictate every single outcome in your life. And so that isn't to, it's not about proving. I think when I first, this is really important, I would really listen in if I was you. But when I first got into leadership, right, and I was just first starting to understand it, like, I mean, what even is leadership, right? When I first got into it, I thought that I had to have a relationship with myself. I kept seeing myself as like, I need to prove to myself that I can have this relationship with myself. So I would basically be like, trying to like score points with myself. So I'd be like doing deeds that prove to myself that that I'm being loving to myself. So I'd be like, oh, that person didn't speak to me good, so I'm going to show them that they can't speak to me like that, or whatever, right? But I think the biggest lesson has been that that's not what a relationship is about. It's not about proving and keeping scores. It's about being able to understand that it is a relation thing. So the more that you're able to relate, it means the more that you're able to understand. So it's about really understanding yourself. It's not about what you do, it's about who you're being. And your being is your feeling. So it's about you having a relationship with how you show up to your emotions, how you're able to respond with your emotions instead of reacting, and how you're able to respond to the thoughts you receive, because not all thoughts you have are coming from you, by the way, and that's a whole other topic. Not going to debunk this in this video. No. But your thoughts are quite literally something that you're receiving. And so if you're identifying with your thoughts as like, I am my thoughts, I had this thought, so I am this person, you are stuck in your matrix. You're stuck in your mind. Your matrix is your mind. That's all it is. And so if you're stuck in your matrix, you're being controlled by your own mind, your own thoughts. And that is a very scary place to be, because that's not who you are, and you can't control your thoughts. So you're just chasing your own tail, energetically, spiritually speaking. So in order to break out of that loop, it's the understanding that you are the awareness of your thoughts, and you are the one that's being aware of them. And so instead of identifying and thinking, I need to have positive thoughts to have a positive relationship with myself, understanding you don't need to have more thoughts, you don't need to do more thinking to have a better relationship with yourself. You need to be able to be more aware of the thoughts you're having, and from that place think a slightly more empowering thought, and by that you build a relationship. So relationship isn't built by you going from, okay, so I'm standing in front of this person, like imagine if you were actually another person, right? Like let's say you're actually bringing out and you're mirroring yourself out, and you're like, I'm standing in front of this person and I want to go from point A to point B, and I'm just going to do it with one click. And it's not like that. It's like there's a process, there's a structure. And the process and structure is something that you're always going to be doing for the rest of your life. And that is constantly soothing and emotionally regulating yourself. And as you do that with yourself and you start to have slightly more empowering thoughts, for example, maybe you're having a thought of like, I can't do this. A more empowering thought is, I can't do this yet, but I can do this in the future if I keep practicing. And maybe I can't do this. I've done hard things before. You're not going from I can't do this to I can't do this, even if you really don't believe you can do it, because that's not realistic. So you're closing the gap. You're building that relationship. You're doing it by being grounded to what's actually happening in the present moment, by being actually aware of what you're actually feeling, what you actually need, by actually taking the moment and the presence to connect, to listen, to breathe, to slow down. And when I say slow down, I don't mean to slow down your actions. I mean to slow down your pace, to be able to actually be in your own natural rhythm, to the point where you can actually understand why you're responding the way you're responding to the things around you, where you're not basically running ahead of yourself. It's not about slowing down to the point where you're going slower than you want to go, or slower than it feels comfortable, or slower than you need to in order to get the job done. No, it's slowing down in order to be able to hear yourself, in order to be able to hear what's actually happening, so that you can show up with presence and consciousness. Okay, so that's it. This is basically how to build a better relationship. And as you master these skills with yourself, it's going to be automatic. You're going to do it with other people. That will be a second nature. It's other people should be the love that you have that is learned from the way that you learn to love yourself. That's what relating is. You're relating to somebody through the relationship you have with yourself, through your own world. You relate and you understand their world. That's what a relating is. You relate to people when you say, yeah, I've gone through that too. Right? You're building rapport. You're like, I've gone through that too. And when there's that moment of relating, there's a moment of connection, of similarity, of understanding, and that's rapport. And as you build rapport, you have a commonality. You have a level of clarity. You have a level of feeling like you're on the same team. And that's basically what a relationship is. It's being on the same team, about basically wanting what's best for one another, having good intentions, and wanting to build a dynamic that is, in the long term, it is something that benefits both parties. So that's why it's about, when people say you need to communicate better, that's the key. I know I said I was done, but I just have to get this bit out because it's really important. But it's like, when I say communicating this is the key, it's not just talking. Like, that's nothing. That's not communicating. That's just talking. Communicating is being able to convey a message, which is all communication is, by the way. Nothing else. Everything else is not communication. Communication is having a message and being able to convey that this is the key thing, in a way that the person in front of you will understand and be able to receive the message. Not in the way that you want to or you think is best, but the way that they will be able to receive it in that moment, to understand the message. Now, that isn't about taking responsibility for their level of understanding, their ability to receive, and their response, but it is your ability to take responsibility of your own ability to respond in a way where you're staying in your center. And I'll talk more about this in another episode because it's a deep topic, but staying in your center so that you are able to not get lost in the emotions and then you just start going off topic. Staying on topic is staying very clear with the message you're trying to convey. And the more you're able to stay in topic, it's the clarity, the actual thing that's wanting to be created, the result, the outcome. It's easier, it's faster, it's more effective because you are communicating correctly. And that's how you build relationships that are healthy and that are powerful. And it's so simple, but yet the hard bit is being able to stay centered and grounded when the emotions that naturally come up in relationships that are a little bit shaky or a little bit uncomfortable or a little bit painful and hurtful, and staying centered in that and being able to not let that control your behavior, but be able to be the person that is choosing from a place of intention and clarity your behavior. And that is where you bring consciousness, God, love, and light into your relationships. And as you bring that into your relationships, you will receive that from your relationships. And this game is all a game of energy, and energy starts from the mindset, and the mindset that we have, the thoughts we have, which isn't to be controlled, but it is to be related, understood, so that you can think better thoughts incrementally. That is how you build a relationship with yourself and with others. Okay, mic drop. We're done for today. This was a really, really good episode. So I want to engage with you. I want to stay connected with you, right? You're watching this because you resonate with my soul. Otherwise, you will not be here. This is for you. So I resonate with you. If you resonate with me, let's engage. Comment on the comments. I want to know more about you and any future ideas you want me to do. If I'll call to ask, so probably one of you guys has an idea of something you'd like me to talk about. So that's that for this video. I will speak to you soon. Stay subscribed and like and all the stuff that you